Women leaders. Yeah.
First question is, so how would you describe the Inside Adventure Leadership Program, and what has it brought to you? What have you learned as an individual and as a leader?
One thing, would you repeat the question?
Of course, yeah. I've been media trained.
Good.
About 10, 20 years ago, but yeah, fine. So actually, could you repeat the question?
So the idea is, it's two questions. The first one is, what is the Inside Adventure Program, Leadership Program?
Mm-hmm.
And then as you explain it, then either I make then the second question, what have you learned?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the program basically?
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine you're trying to explain it.
I wonder if you can have that diagram out in the thing, but yeah, it's fine. No, it's fine. Yeah, exactly.
But you don't need this, you know.
No, I know, but it just reminds me that there is.
When you are in, let me say.
Okay, so the question is, just so I'm clear, what is the program, and what is the program to me?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. No preamble? No, fine. Okay. The Inside Out Adventure Program. It's not called Inside Out Adventure. What's it called? Yeah, it is. Okay. The Inside Out Adventure Program.
The name worked.
I'm branded. Okay.
I can start again.
Yeah, sorry.
It was my fault.
The Inside Out Adventure Program is, I think, a sort of bespoke leadership program that's been designed to enable sort of mid-managers or mid-level people within Save the Children to really hone in on what leadership means to them, what leadership means for the organisation, and the program really allows. The program provides a structure for individuals to really think through the different components of good leadership or strong leadership, and it does that through workshops and different discussions, different tools and tips that you provide and that we practice, and I can talk a bit about those. And also, of course, there's the component of the outside adventure, which is again, I can talk about that in more detail. So in short, it's a structured program that allows us to sort of test ourselves in terms of trying out new ways of thinking, also introducing and exposing to different writing and different leadership agendas or leadership styles, I guess, and allows a conversation and a discussion amongst the leaders of the program, but also amongst peers. And I think that's the added value of this type of program within Save the Children, at least, as it's brought together peers within the organisation that potentially we don't work with very often. Not only to introduce us to those people, but also to share some of our frustrations with the organisation and some of our approaches to how we can sort of demonstrate leadership within this quite complex and large organisation. A big chunk was the outside adventure, which I was and still am a little bit cynical about in terms of linking that with leadership. But I think, the premise was very much about facing your fears, sort of conquering your fears, or acknowledging failure as well, in terms of not necessarily whether you can or cannot do the task involved, whether it's jumping off a cliff or climbing up a mountain, but really, did you give your 100%, and can you give your 100% when you're really, really challenged? And I think that was the takeaway for me in terms of that sort of outside-out experience. For me as an individual, I think, I lead quite a large team already, and I've been challenged in leadership roles in my career, and I think this program has reaffirmed some of my leadership qualities. Okay, I know I can do that. Okay, I know I'm resilient, that's good. But it's also given me, again, these sort of tips and skills which I probably knew about but hadn't really applied. So press pause, think. And also, right at the beginning of the course, we talk about values. What's our purpose? What's our intent? And if nothing else from the course, that's something I've really taken on. So I spend time to articulate my values as an individual. What does it mean for me to work for Save the Children? Why do I work for Save the Children? And then also going into a meeting or a workshop, or sometimes even just crafting an email. What's my intent? What's the purpose? What do I want to get out of this? And that for me has been quite dramatic, actually, in its impact on the way I work. There's lots of things I probably should do more of, pressing pause being one of them. Really articulate, really preparing before. My style is very on the hoof, and in my coaching sessions I've worked with Andrew on on sort of marking out time to actually concentrate on the big stuff rather than the sort of small stuff which gets in the way. And I'd say it's a work in progress. It's definitely, again, something that I knew, but it's good to have it's fantastic to have an opportunity to have a coach of that level to talk you through why that's important and how you can really apply that to, and not just work, just life as well, which is great.
And I will take the question you made before, which I think was very good. So if people look at you before, like when you started the program, and then all these things you've been kind of learning and changing, what do you think would be the what they would say that they have seen you do differently, like Rachel before and now Rachel 3 months later?
Sure. Okay, so if someone was to look at me before and after the leadership program, I think I'd like to think some of the sort of outward signs that people would be able to articulate and really focus in on, again, is that really articulating intent and purpose. Another thing that we talk about in the leadership program, towards the end of the program, is about appreciation and providing feedback to people. And again, it's something I've always done, but I think it's given me space to think about how important that is, and then different approaches to doing that. So I think people probably wouldn't say, oh, I do that much more, but I think I would do it in a more considered way. And really, again, just taking a moment before hitting send on that email to say thank you, but actually really considering what that is, because it can impact people quite profoundly, actually. And ditto, taking on some challenging conversations. Again, I've never been one to shy away from challenging conversations, but again, it's really how to frame it, how to consider it, I think. So I guess if people were to think, okay, before and after, maybe a bit more considered in the approach. I've also tried to work on, one of my feedbacks from way back was that I have a very bad poker face. I need to hide my poker face because it's very visible how I react in a meeting. So I've tried to consider that during this program, and again, it's that sort of healthy cynicism that I have, trying to just keep that at bay and being open to different approaches in different ways. And I think I'd like to say much more open to different approaches in different ways and different language as well. Press pause. 3 months ago I'd have just dismissed it, but now it's something that I think, that's a good thing to do, press pause. And the mindfulness thinking, and I've sort of dipped in and out of it. I haven't yet jumped into it, but it's something I'm much more aware of. And I think, there's people in my team who I know use mindfulness, so I'm less cynical about them and more accepting that that's a good thing. People are trying to improve their well-being. So maybe less cynical. Maybe that's something that people would think about. Yeah.
Great. And if you press pause now and you looked at Save the Children as an organization, and after what you've kind of experienced through the program, and also looking at your different the other participants, your other colleagues, and taking that big picture of Save the Children, what do you want more for Save the Children? What do you think it's important in the next steps as you go forward to Save the Children? What do you want more for the organization?
Wow, that's a massive question. Okay, I'll take it in stages, I guess. So following this leadership program, what I would hope for Save the Children, sort of on an individual level, that the people and the participants that have been invested in greatly by Save the Children are really allowed and enabled to sort of flourish in leadership roles, supported obviously, but able to take on more leadership responsibility, but also demonstrate leadership, whether that's in their day-to-day job or moving up or stretch type leadership activities. I think for the organisation, what do I want for the organisation? I have to think about this. What do I want for the organisation? What I'd like for the organisation is and this is, okay, for Save the Children as an organisation, what I would like and what I am seeing already is a culture shift within the agency. We've had a lot of difficult times, difficult leadership, and there's definitely a shift within the agency. I think investing in people of, as I said, sort of medium or sort of mid-level or senior level management to become leaders is a great first step. But as I said, that needs to be fostered, it needs to be supported. And I think, with Save the Children, it's such a large organisation, and often you feel very sort of separated from the bigger movement. There's a need for a much more cohesion, much more collaboration, and I think some of the skills and working with different people and working with different parts of even the small humanitarian department allows us to sort of test some of this. One of the other things we've learned in this programme is, to accept failure, and we do fail, and we will fall over, and we can pick ourselves up, and I think that's part of allowing the people, the cohort, to sort of flourish within the organisation, is also to acknowledge that we will make mistakes when we're doing these sort of next steps up, and that's okay. So I think that's important for the agency.
Great. What would you tell new participants if that they were coming into the leadership course? What would be your advice for them?
So my advice for new participants, get out now! No, my advice for new participants, embrace it, completely embrace it. As I said, I've got a healthy cynicism, which sometimes is unhealthy, but in the main, weeks 1 and 2, I actually missed the first couple of sessions, but I did the reading, I watched some of the stuff online, and I thought, I don't know if this is for me, I really don't know. And then I thought, this is the opportunity you have, take it. So I guess the advice to the participants is take the opportunity, embrace it, go with it. Some of it's a bit uncomfortable, you have to push yourself, not only in the physical outdoor space, which actually I didn't find as challenging as some of the, the sort of round table conversations or putting yourself out there is much more uncomfortable for someone like me. So just take the opportunity, because it's seldom that these types of opportunities come along.
And is there any other thing you would like to say, generally, that maybe, I don't know, I didn't ask you and you want to say, or because I think we're more or less done. Do you have questions?
Maybe. Depends what you say.
Depends what I say. Okay. So any final thoughts? I think, Amaya and Andrew are people I would never normally, work with, and it's been a fantastic opportunity. I think you're fantastic in delivering the programme and in making it work, basically, but also in bringing quite a disparate group of people together to have a shared understanding and shared conversations and shared experiences, which is really powerful. I was thinking, what are some of the sort of legacy of this programme for me, and outside of the leadership skills and the potential belief and understanding in leadership, I think it's also friendship, and the cohort that we have been put together with you and Andrew as part of that is really special. So thank you, I guess, to the Inside Out.
Yeah, I'm never sure it's helpful to ask this, but what's the one thing you would take away from it, from the
one thing I would take away from the programme? Yeah, sure.
Good to say, but yeah, go.
I don't know. I guess there's many things I will take away from this programme. I think the one thing I will take away from this programme is, no, hang on, let me think about this. The one thing I will take away from this programme.
There might not be one, but it's just.
I guess, there's many things I'll take away from this programme. The one thing I will take away from this programme is a sense of achievement, actually. As I said, I was a bit cynical at the beginning. I'm also very conscious of people's time and, you know, all the different competing demands, but I've achieved it, I've finished it, but I've also grown and learnt within it. Jumping off a mountain and canyoning is something I won't forget, so I have a memory from it. I don't think I'll repeat it, but I certainly learnt that I can do it, and I have a resilience which, again, I knew it was there, but it is really tested in that outdoor experience. So yeah, many things, but that's definitely one of them.
Brilliant, thank you.
Great.
Thank
And
you.
did you tell me you don't know how to link it to leadership?